Hi, fire signs. My name is Michelle Kelly. Welcome to This Is Your Sign. This is your April 2021 mid-month spirited messages. So if you've already subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And when you go into subscriptions, you'll see every time I upload a video, which is every Saturday. And if you've already subscribed, thank you so much. And give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Let's get into your reading. All right, your first card is the Tribe, and it's upside down. The next one is the Observer, and it's upside down. And the next one is Co-Create. So this is telling me the people that you thought were there for you are not necessarily the people that you're meant to be working with right now. And this could be like family. This could be friends that you thought were here to help you, and you're now starting to realize that they're not available. I'm going to tell you one thing. It's not they won't, they can't. And then the next one is Observer, and it's upside down. So it tells me all of the fire signs, and I know this about you guys, is that you guys were operating out of your head, and you are starting to learn how to operate out of your heart, and it's turning your whole world upside down. And this is a time of, you know, things are shifting, things are changing for you. And usually when that happens, I have to tell you, it feels horrible. It feels horrible, but even though it feels horrible, it's good. It's like a good change. But usually what happens is you got to get thrown into it, because if you're not, you won't shift and you won't change. So the way you looked at things is being turned upside down. And the next one is Co-Create, and it is like, it's an owl and it's on a wire. So you guys, I don't know if you know much about owls, but they are spirit animals. And I have a deck. I'm going to have to look it up and I will research more. But like, you feel like you're out there on a wire all by yourself with nobody else. And a lot of times when this happens to you, this is when you develop your relationship with the divine, with God, with spirit, with your angels. This is when there's nothing else around you, that's when you grab onto what's out there, the universe, God. So, and everything that is happening to you right now, whatever this tribe, your tribe got turned upside down and you realize these people aren't able to help you, you feel all alone. And the world is a lot bigger than you think, and there's a lot more people on this journey than you think. And they're all over the world. And I'm telling you guys, your soul tribe does exist. They are out there. It feels like you're all alone, but now is your time to co-create with spirit. So anything that comes to you, ideas, things to do, this is the divine coming through you and speaking to you. So I'm going to tell you, your inner voice is God speaking to you. Like when you get this, oh my God, great idea, that's from God. Usually when things aren't right for you, you feel them in your body first. So like it feels bad, it feels heavy. But when you are experiencing your intuition, your inner voice, when you hear that, you feel lighter, you feel freer, you feel less weighted down. And any voice of love is the divine. So anything that is like, why did you do that? How come you keep doing that? That is not the voice of God. That is the voice of your ego. And that is fear speaking to you. So any voice of love and kindness is the divine speaking to you if you are looking for that. I am going to dive a little bit deeper into these meanings. I want to tell you guys that you're not as alone as you feel. And it's not saying that you don't feel that way, and it doesn't mean you're not entitled to feel that way. You are. And this process, having this happen to you, having, you know, the people that you thought were here to help you or that were on your side, and you're finding out they're not on your team. And it's not because there's something wrong with you, it's because you're ready and they are not. And that is really it's a hard, lonely, scary path at first. But the more you jump in to the water, the more you realize, like, oh my God, the water's nice and it's not as deep as I thought it was going to be, and I'm still okay, and I'm not drowning, and maybe I'll learn how to swim while I'm here. So like, this is the stuff you guys are learning, and some of the people in your tribe haven't found that out yet. And the hardest part of this journey is when people aren't ready, leaving them behind and still going forward. And you cannot bring people with you. I know you want to, and as you start to get better and you are healing and being shifted, you can't help other people that aren't ready. Their timing and their clock is different than yours, and it sucks, and it's sad, and it's a loss. So it doesn't mean you're not going to feel any of that, but it is not your job to keep telling them until they understand. They won't understand until they're meant to, until the time is right for them. And sometimes you walking away from them is the push that they needed, and it's not there's something wrong with you and you weren't good enough, because that's not true. It's more like you're ready and they're not. It says, beware of compromising your integrity in order to belong. How do you dim your light or change yourself so others will accept you in their tribe? Do you hide who you really are in order to play the role within a larger role? This will never fulfill you. Now is the time to assess your willingness to be real. Stand tall. Be you. Authenticity is a true expression and the only way to empower yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself and step into the role your heart tells you to make. Making yourself small bears too high a cost. So this is saying, with the tribe that you guys have been with, that you haven't been able to be your true authentic self. And I'm going to tell you a few things of when you're not able to be your true authentic self means, like, you might want to say something, but then you don't. You hold back because you're like, God, if I say this, they're not going to like me anymore, or they're not going to be my friend anymore, or maybe they're not going to financially support me anymore. And you are right. But doing this over time, longer and longer, that it causes physical and emotional and mental side effects. So staying in situations that aren't good for you, that you're not able to be the person who God, the divine spirit, wants you to be, it starts to come out in your body, and it comes out with headaches, with stomach aches, with anxiety, with depression, with autoimmune diseases. If you have chronic pain, your pain gets worse. A lot of times that kind of stuff starts to happen before the words are actually able to come out of your mouth. So this is a process, and you can't do it wrong, and you're not going to. That's what I want to tell you. When you're ready, when the time is right for you, when you can no longer shrink yourself, that's when you're ready. Is it scary as shit? hell to the yeah. So it's not going to be like, oh my God, I'm just going to be myself and I'm going to walk away and I just feel free and everything's going to fall into place. It will eventually, but that process is not as smooth as I would love to tell you that it is. I would love to tell you, like, you just all of a sudden wake up one day and you're just like, I'm just going to speak my truth and the words are just going to come out. A lot of times when you are in situations that aren't good for you and you shut yourself down because you need to survive that, it takes a long time for the words to actually be able to come out of your mouth. So part of that process is you might start to think it like, I don't think this feels like this isn't right. I don't think this is right. And you might eventually mention it to somebody else and they kind of give you confirmation, or you hear yourself say it out loud. And the more you hear yourself say it out loud, the lighter it gets, the easier it is. You know, it's like this whole process. And then you might be able to actually tell the people, this isn't good for me anymore and I can't stay here. And I would love to tell you it comes out like that. It might come out like fuck you and goodbye. So like, even if you do that, that's not wrong either. Like, you have to do whatever is right for you in order not to stay in situations which aren't good for you. So a lot of times they might come out as a fuck you first. That's okay. Part of the process. The next one is observer, and it's upside down. So when I was telling you guys, you know, you're no longer looking, you're like taking action. And that is brave as shit. And again, when I was telling you guys, you don't just get up one day and take the action. Usually a series of events happen, and it might be you go along, you go along, you go along, you go along, and then you flip out. And then you do something, you know, and then it doesn't mean that's wrong or you're going to stop that, but maybe next time you might go along, go along, go along, and then flip out. So you don't go along for as long. So that's the kind of stuff, that's part of this process too. So when it's upside down, what it says is, ever think sometimes your life options are a suction cup to your face and you can't see beyond yourself? There's a big world out there, a multitude of potential realities that you are unable to perceive at present. So you're a little stuck. It's time to get some advice from someone you trust, someone who has a better perspective on your circumstances. Other points of view are needed now before you move forward. Take heart. A beautiful vista is waiting for you to drink it in. You just need a little help widening your scope beyond your small self. So you guys, your small self is your ego. That's your head. That's all the voices in your head telling you, you can't do this. Who's going to believe you anyway? No one's going to be there for me if I do say this or if I do get out of this situation. That is your small self. That is fear speaking to you, and that is not true. So sometimes we are programmed and conditioned, and a lot of times when you're in a situation that isn't right for you, you feel stuck. And when you feel stuck, it's only natural to see all the things that you can't do and what's not available for you. And this is saying you're allowed to get another perspective, and please do that. Go talk to somebody else, but somebody who's not going to say, why the hell did you do that? Why did you stay there for that long? Why didn't you quit that job 6 months ago? They are not the people to go and discuss this with. You want to go to people that are going to say, guess what? I would have did the same thing. And not only would I have done the same thing, but I'm going to tell you guys the situation. I went to Nashville with a girlfriend and we rented a car together. And it was cheaper just for one person to have their name on the car. So my girlfriend put her name on the car as the main driver. only driver. So technically I wasn't allowed to drive this car. So she was a night owl and I'm more of a morning person. And when I got up, I wanted to go get coffee and she was still sleeping. And I felt so stuck and so trapped. And I'm like, Jesus, I can't even go for coffee. And when I got back, I was telling one of my girlfriends and she's like, why didn't you call an Uber? And you know what? When I was in that situation, all I felt was stuck, trapped, mad at her because I had no coffee and what took her so long to get up and I couldn't drive this car and like all of the things I could see is what I can't do and what I can't have. And then when my friend said, why didn't you call an Uber or why didn't I call my girlfriend while I was there and tell her this? So sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time getting an outside perspective, you're like, oh my God, I couldn't even think of this on my own. And a lot of times when you're in a situation that isn't good for you, you can't think of what to do. And that's normal. So getting an outside perspective, another view on your situation or what's not right for you, it's okay to do that. It's not a betrayal to the other people. It's confirmation for you. And sometimes we just need some confirmation and permission that what we're thinking or what we're feeling is validated. And we all need that. Every person needs that. You don't think that the Pope needs to hear he's doing a good job, or that Oprah needs to hear that she's doing a good job, or that the president doesn't need to hear that he's doing a good job or he made the right decision. We are all human and we all need that. And we need that from people that we actually feel heard, supported, and loved by. So the people that you might have gone to in the past might not have been able to do that for you. And it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's because they're not ready yet. Remember I was saying that? They're not ready yet. It's not a reflection of what's wrong with you. It is confirmation that there is something very right with you and you're on the right track and you're on the fast track. I promise you. You couldn't have done it any better or any sooner. So the next one is co-create. So it says creativity, art, inspiration, fruition, manifestation. Flashes of inspiration give rise to great success when you receive this message. You are at your most creative now, and whatever you apply yourself to will lead you to the fruition of your dreams. Remember that all your ideas are channeled from a higher source. You create your reality in partnership with Spirit. The potential for manifestation is unlimited now. Revel in its vastness. So this is saying, you guys, you are so creative and your creativity is starting to kick in. And a lot of times when you're in things that aren't good for you or that aren't right for you anymore, that you might have outgrown, which you're growing. Congratulations. Growing pains. Remember, a lot of times you get growing pains. It doesn't mean, you're not meant to grow. It just means sometimes it's painful. And yes, and I'm sorry for whatever has happened or is happening, that this has been so painful for you. But this is saying your creativity coming in right now, this heaviness is being lifted. And when you are in situations that aren't good for you, you are not as open. You're not open. Maybe you were just open a little tiny bit and now you're getting more open for the information to start coming to you and through you, and you can actually start to hear it and believe it. So you guys, your creativity is coming in through you, and trusting in that and believing in that. That's a process too. So maybe you're meant to be an artist. Maybe you're meant to be a painter. Maybe you're meant to be a writer. Maybe you're meant to do what I'm doing, these cards, whatever you're meant to do, it is starting to come to you, but you had to get out of, or you are being lifted from that and removed from that So all of that can come to you and through you. And I want to say congratulations, because this is not an easy road to be on, but it doesn't mean you're not meant to be on it. And it doesn't mean to stop or slow it down. It just means you are being shifted into another place. And it's a gift, but as it's happening, it feels like a curse. So you guys, if it feels like, why is this happening to me? One day, maybe not today, maybe not the second, you're going to look back and say, I know why this had to happen. And it was happening to me and for me. So I'm going to get into the Soul's Journeys cards. And the next one says peace. And it says, I am a being of love, and I release all negative energy. So you guys, you are love. You are pure love, fire signs. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You guys, it is safe for you to operate out of love and out of your heart. And if you're having a hard time right now, like trying to make decisions, honestly, this is hard and this is how I do it, but it has never steered me wrong. One of the questions to ask yourself when you're in a situation, what would love do? What would love do? Love would ask you to be kind. Love would ask you to be compassionate. And love would never ask you to harm or hurt yourself. So love will never ask you to harm or hurt yourself, or to be someone that you're not, or to stay in a place that isn't good for you. I'm going to tell you this right now. If something isn't good for you, it is not good for the other person either. If something is not right for you, it is not right for the other people. God wants everybody to be happy and not one person to suffer and the other one to feel good. And if someone else feels good when you don't, they are not well, because most people cannot be comfortable and feel good knowing the other person is not. So I am wishing you peace and love, and you guys are coming to that, and it is happening for you. Now the next one is grief. And grief says, I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. Okay, guys, grief, the grieving process. Part of the grieving process is you are losing your old life, your old way, your old, the life that you thought you were meant to have, the job you thought you were meant to have, whatever it is that you lost. And I am so sorry for that. Like, whatever you guys lost, I can't even imagine. And the grief that you're feeling. So like, I was taught that if you were sad, you were feeling sorry for yourself. And quit feeling sorry for yourself. And you're wallowing in self-pity. And that is not true. You are allowed to be sad. You are allowed to be angry. You are allowed to be pissed at God for what you don't have anymore. This is a process. Part of the grieving process, the first part of the grieving process is denial. Like, this isn't happening. He didn't do that. I didn't have to squash myself. I got to be who I wanted to be. This is saying when you're in the denial phase, you're in the protection mode because you need to be. You need to protect yourself and keep yourself safe. So then the next phase, you're like, those fucking people, it's all their fault. If they didn't do this to me, I wouldn't have had to do that. That is the second stage of grieving. Again, normal. So normal. And it's okay to be mad, and it's okay, but you don't have to live there. But the time of being mad is different for everybody. Still not wrong. It's part of the grieving process. And then there's the sadness for the loss that you're feeling. And that comes with depression too. So if you guys are depressed or sad or grieving the loss of, just because better's on the other side for you and you know that, it doesn't mean you're going to skip the grieving process and you're not going to feel grief. So if you are sad, if you are depressed, still part of the process, you might be taking a pause, coming out of whatever you came out of, an addiction, a relationship, codependency, the loss of a job, the loss of a child, the loss of a pet, any of that. That is a huge major loss, and the grieving process is different for everybody, and there's no right or wrong way to do it, and there's no amount of time to do it. But this is saying, please don't isolate to the point that you keep everybody away from you. And the next one says purpose, and it says, I know what I am here to do. So you guys, as a away from all of this, is you are finding your life's purpose through this loss. And again, painful. It's not this just like one day wake up and you're in the beautiful flower garden and everything's happily ever after and just all the money comes to you and you make all great decisions and everything's smooth and easy. That's not true. It doesn't work that way. But as a result of this particular loss, this has been leading you to your soul's purpose. And, you know, if you are not comfortable or you're not sure of what your soul's purpose is yet, the sign behind me, create the things you wish existed. What did you wish was available to you that wasn't, that you needed? Or what do you wish there is available to you right now that you needed? And that is part of why you're here and part of what your purpose is. With that question, it is such a deep and heavy question that it is not an answer that you just wake up one day and know like that. And that could happen to you, but that is a small percentage. It could take you a week. It could take you a month. It could take you 2 months. It could take you 6 months. It could take you a year. It could take you multiple of years. So just know that those questions are so deep and so heavy. It depends where you are in your journey. And Kathy Lee Gifford, I don't know if any of you are older or know who Kathy Lee Gifford is, but she was on a famous talk show here in the United States, and I heard her say, if you have a pulse, you have a purpose. So I am telling you, if you have a pulse, you have a purpose. And whether you can't walk or you can't sit anymore, or you are in pain, or you have a disease, or whatever, you're debilitated, if you are breathing, there is a purpose for your life, and it is not to roll over and die. It is, you might be able to write, you might be able to talk, you might be able to do videos. There are things that you can do. But remember, from what I was saying before, a lot of times when we are left to our own devices, we can only see what we can't do anymore and what's not available to us. So this is saying, when you go for help, when you go speak to other people, when you get a second opinion, this is go see a counselor, go see a therapist, go see a doctor, join a 12-step program if you need one, which everybody does need one of those, by the way. Al-Anon, ACA, AA, NA, Gamblers Anonymous, Sex and Love Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Codependency Anonymous. We are all suffering from addiction on this earth. If you think you are not an addict, I can assure you, you are. We all are in some form or fashion. And so this is saying, get out there and get other opinions so people can be your eyes until you can see for yourself. There are people out there that would love to do this and would love to help you with that. So the next one is cycles, and it says, we are all becoming. Surrender to your changes, release your fear, trust in this powerful process. So you guys, when I see we are all becoming, I think of the Velveteen Rabbit. And if you've ever read the book, The Velveteen Rabbit, or seen it, it was like, by the time we figure all this stuff out, by the time we figure out where we belong, what our soul's purpose is, why we're here, what we're meant to do, um, all of your hair has been loved off. So it usually means that you're older. You're loose and flabby in the joints. It means, you know, you've gained weight, your body's not working like it used to. And then it's like, you can't be ugly except to the people who don't understand. So like when I see people, everywhere I go, I see God, because God is in people. So every time I see people, I see God. And I see people's hearts and their eyes. And yes, you can see if somebody's physically attractive, but some people can be very outwardly attractive and their heart isn't well, and it makes them not as attractive. Or you might know somebody who you didn't think was that attractive, and then you got to know them and you're like, oh my God, this person is beautiful. And it's not because of the outside package, it's because you know them and you can feel them. So like that's where you guys are becoming, and the surface and the what you look like, what kind of car you drive, what kind of house you live in isn't as impressive as it used to be. And the next one says integrity. Drop the things that offend your soul. Embrace the truth. It's your life. Let no one live it for you. So embracing the truth and having integrity means that you're learning, just because somebody outwardly has more than you doesn't mean their life is better than you, doesn't mean they know better than you. And maybe you're starting to realize you're not as impressed by that as you used to be. And if that is the case for you, I can say congratulations. That is such an amazing place to be. And it's wonderful and it's beautiful. And it's starting to realize that we are all the same. We are all God's children. We're all doing the best we can. Not everybody is in the same place at the same time. Thank God. So you guys are elevating up. And the next one is strength. And it says, you have courage. You can endure. You find your center and spiral. It says find your center and spiral into your power. So you guys, you have courage. Whatever you are removing yourself from, like holy shit, that is bravery. That is courage. It's scary as shit. And I can assure you, when you take that leap, when you take that jump, that things on the other side are a lot better than you think they're going to be. But when you're doing it, usually, how do you know when you're ready? When the fear of staying is worse than the fear of leaving. So a lot of times when you realize, if I stay here, I'm going to die. And not I'm just going to die like physically, like my soul is dying, my heart is dying, my spirit is dying because I can't be who God wants me to be. And as you guys are evolving, like you are growing by leaps and bounds. And fire signs, I'm so proud of you guys right now. This is not an easy path, but it doesn't mean you're not meant to be on it. This means you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And congratulations. This is your sign signing off. If you're still watching, please subscribe. Thanks so much.